Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with a new video for the mamas. This video is all about Pampers, okay? We're just going to talk about Pampers Swaddlers and Honest Company. So I used both and I appreciate both Pampers. So you're going to hear like an unbiased review. When you get your baby from the hospital, typically hospitals use Pampers. Let me see. So this is important because usually you copy what they use, just instinct, like, you know, the doctors know best. But literally almost every hospital uses this, so it might just be some type of business thing going on. Maybe they're sponsoring them. Moving on to Honest. Look at this. These little pandas, so cute, right? Honest brands have so many different cute designs on their Pampers. We have one with giraffes, we have ones with these, there's checkers, there's flags. Like, you can choose whatever you think is cute, and I just love seeing my baby crawl around in the cutest Pampers. Another thing I love about the Pampers, aside from that subtle smell, is this indicator line. Let me show you. So this yellow line, if you can see it, it turns blue when wet. So you'll know if your baby's wet. If there's a little drop, you'll know, okay, baby needs to change the diaper. This is super helpful because one thing that causes diaper rashes and other types of rashes are when they're in a wet diaper for too long. And my son has never had a diaper rash, you know, knock on wood. My baby's playing with his toys, if you can hear him. But yeah, Pampers brand helped me with this because I always knew when he was wet. Usually you can feel when your baby's Pampers wet. It feels really mushy and like gelatin-like, and you'll know when it's wet. But the line makes it so much easier. Like, Honest is pretty eco-friendly, free of parabens. It's plant-based. It's super natural if you want to lean towards the natural side. Pampers does offer a natural plant-based line. I think it's Pampers Pure. When you bring your baby home, they're gonna have their own scent, but also another scent. And I realized that it was the Pampers scent. So it does have a slight fragrance if you do decide to use Pampers Swaddlers. Also, what I want to say is the insides feel a little bit different than the Pampers insides. So the Pampers brand is going to be soft and fluffy on the inside because they use much more products, you know? And I don't know, it just feels so soft. I don't know what they do, guys. Honest brand is also soft, but not as pillow-like, fluffy cotton like Pampers. You want to make sure you have the new Honest because they did update their line. So you want to make sure you have the newest Honest Pampers. They're going to feel a little bit more softer than before. Just not as fluffy as the Pampers brand. Just because they use much more different technologies to make their Pampers. This is pretty simple, cut and dry, things like that. It doesn't have an indicator line for urine. So for these, you're going to just have to do the touch and feel. Something that I would suggest is to, when you know your baby has a wet diaper, feel them up and feel what a wet diaper feels like so it can become second nature to you. So when my son was first born, they have absolutely no bladder control, right? And they're just eating on demand. He had so many wet diapers, and I tried Honest out at first and it just wasn't holding his urine as much. So I switched to Pampers Swaddlers and it was so much better. One thing I will say though is that with any type of Pamper, when you put it on, you want to make sure you pull out the sides. So let's say this is your baby and you're going to put your Pamper on. One thing with any type of Pamper, before you say that, like, you know, it's leaking, you hate it, you want to make sure that you swipe a finger through the sides to open up this funky squiggly part, and there's a little lining in there. You want to just make sure that's out because this is what's going to catch the side leaks. So after you secure your Pamper, you want to make sure you swipe here and make sure that elastic side is out. And leak protection with any Pampers brand, with any diaper brand. I just think it was a little better on that side as in his newborn time. When he got a little bit older, it didn't matter which pamper I used. He had more bladder control. I switched to Honest because I'm like, oh, I want him to have these cute designs on it. So I definitely switched to these. We didn't have any leaks with this because I used the same technique. I swiped the thigh crease when I put it on to assure that that little lining is outwards, just to add that extra leak protection. So once you do that, you shouldn't have any leaks through the night in both of these, Pampers and Honest. He slept through the night without leaks. But I will say, as a newborn, these were my go-to, the Pampers brand, Pampers Swaddlers. Let's talk about smells. So once your baby wets their diaper, it usually gives off a smell. Honest, I don't really smell that chemical-like smell, and some people do. Hi. Some people do, some people don't, but I haven't smelled any kind of weird chemical-like smells after urine's been sitting in this pamper. With Pampers brand, I smelled a very strong foul odor when it was full of urine. So this encouraged me to change him right away, as always. But it didn't make me feel too comfortable. So like, if you don't have a diaper genie and you leave a wet diaper rolled up on the floor, you'll start to smell it. Like when you leave your room and come back in, you'll smell it. Why do you leave the pamper on the floor? I don't know. Things get crazy when you have the baby at home. You might not make it to the diaper in time. It might be 3 in the morning. You just threw it on the floor. I don't know. But it smells really bad. It smelled up my entire room when I used the Pampers and did not discard it right away. So that kind of made me feel a little uneasy. Honest, I didn't really have that problem. You might have that. You might notice a smell if your baby's been in a wet diaper for hours, which they should never be. If you're changing them every 2 hours or so, you shouldn't really notice a foul smell with this one. This one you might. Pampers, Honest. So in choosing your Pampers, I would say just go by what you like. Both are overall great Pampers. I like them both, and I would recommend both of them. If you are having a lot of leaks, I would say just stick with Swaddlers. But if you want to stay on the eco-friendly side, just do Honest. You don't really have to ask any questions. It's usually great, and it's usually on point with their naturalness, okay? So you want the cute little designs, you get the Honest. You want the wet indicator line, you would get the Pampers. That's really the big difference for me, is just this has an indicator line, this doesn't. This has a subtle fragrance, but you can always get the Pampers Pure. This has no fragrance. If you do get Swaddlers, the leak guard is on point. I think it's the best. If you get Honest, fragrance-free, chlorine-free, plant-based, super natural, very eco-friendly. Designs are super cute. So it just depends on what you prefer. The baby's calling. I hope this video helped you decide on which pamper you want to use. I used both, like I said before. I used Pampers Swaddlers when I first brought my baby home, just because I felt like it had super amazing leak guard protection. And then I switched to Honest when I noticed that the fragrance was a little bit too much when the diaper was wet for long. And this is after it was already off of the baby. It still had that foul chemical-like smell, so I switched to Honest. But there's pros and cons for both, so it's ultimately up to what you decide. You can do both like I did. Start off with Pampers Swaddlers, then switch to Honest when you know the bladder control is a little bit more easier to manage. Good luck with your bundle of joy. This is not a huge deal. You want to just make a decision, and you can change your mind anytime. You can exchange, return. Don't pressure yourself. Don't stress too much over it. But these are some pros and cons about Honest and Pampers. Good luck. Here. We finished. We finished. We finished. We finished. We finished. We finished. Yes, Papa.